Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this special webinar series on Teaching Professionals Olympiad, also known as TPO. This will be happening every Monday and is focused on CENTA International Teaching Professionals Olympiad, which is popularly known as TPO. Today is the 18th webinar of this series on Decoding CENTA International TPO Senior Secondary Political Science. This is the first time we have this track in TPO, and it will be interesting to see how it goes. Let me quickly introduce myself. I am Shruti, the manager for learning products, and I also have my colleague Thomas, who is joining me from the assessment team today, and also is our resident senior secondary political science expert with me. And today we will be facilitating the session. So, welcome to everybody who's joined us today. I can see on the chat that we have many of you from different parts of not just the city but also the different countries joining us. So, would love to see all of you, enter your name and your school name and which city or country you're joining us from. Would be lovely to hear from all of you. So, would encourage everybody to go to the comment section and just quickly type out your name, your school name, and your city, country, etc. Good evening, Ankit sir. Good evening, Hema Gupta ma'am from Central Academy, Barauti, Ranchi. Good evening, Ruchika Gupta ma'am. Good evening, Jayashree ma'am from AM Jain School, Meenambakam, Chennai. Good evening, Chamundeshwari ma'am from the same school. Good evening, Kirti Priya ma'am from DPS, Hyderabad. Nisha ma'am from St. Clair's Convent School, Lucknow. Great. I can see a lot more teachers joining in. Good evening, Chandrika Nidhi ma'am from SD Public School, East Punjabi Bagh, New Delhi. Good evening, Sapna ma'am from MGM Higher Senior Secondary School from Madhya Pradesh. Amazing to see so many of you religiously, regularly joining us. I see a lot of familiar names on the comments as well. Very nice to see so many of you joining us from so many different parts of the country. See a lot of teachers joining us from the Meenambakam AM Jain School. Happy to have all of you on board. Okay, so would encourage all of you to continue sharing on the comment section. Meanwhile, I'll start presenting my screen and we'll get started with today's webinar. I hope my screen's visible. So as I said, today's CENTA TPO webinar series, we are in the 18th webinar of the series on senior secondary political science. Before we get started with today's topic or today's track of the day, just a little bit about the CENTA International TPO. As many of you might know, the first edition of the CENTA TPO was in 2015, and we are proud to be hosting the 8th edition of CENTA International TPO this year in the 8th year of CENTA's existence. The CENTA TPO was started because CENTA is fundamentally about creating reward, recognition, and career growth opportunities for teachers. However, when you look at career growth, it is not something that happens overnight, right? It takes time. It happens over a longer period of time. So we wanted to introduce something which will lead to immediate reward and recognition for competent teachers. And the purpose of the CENTA TPO was to have an annual competition where teachers can compete in a large-scale forum and showcase their competencies and get rewarded immediately for the same. We have been fortunate over the years to have distinguished partners like Reliance Foundation, Education World, and others who have supported us and provide rewards and recognitions for winning teachers. Now, on that note, let me move on to what we'll be covering in today's webinar. In today's webinar, we will be covering the following, starting with an overview of the CENTA International TPO, details of the prelims, the format, mark scheme, competencies covered, etc. The main section of today's webinar, which is Unpack CENTA TPO Senior Secondary Political Track using sample questions, and then we will share a little bit about how to actually prepare for the CENTA International TPO. So in a nutshell, I'll be talking about several aspects and the journey of the CENTA TPO in the upcoming few slides. So when CENTA TPO, International TPO started in 2015, it wasn't international at all. We were only in 7 cities, and cut to 2019, we were in 75 cities and 2 countries. And this year we are fully online and international. In 2015, we only had 9 subject tracks to offer for teachers to participate in. And cut to this year, we have 30 extra tracks apart from the 9 tracks we started with, including some very interesting tracks like primary school EVS, a lot of Hindi language tracks, co-curricular, and more. From 2015 to 2020, we only had multiple choice questions, and soon we realized the need to actually have a more comprehensive assessment that also captures some aspect of how the teacher teaches, right? And which is when we started with the video assessments as well from 2021. So, in a nutshell, the CENTA International TPO is fully online. There are 2 stages, the prelims, which is still going on. The last 2 slots are available in March, and I think the March 10th slot, the registrations just got over, and the registration for the last slot will get over on March 15th. So, that's the only remaining slot now for the prelim. And once the prelims are over, toppers will be invited to the finals, which will be happening in April. It's fully international, so people from all over the country, all over the world, right, can register for the CENTA International TPO. And it's overall a 2-hour test for the prelims with 50 MCQs of the subject track you have picked and 2 short video submissions that you have to do. I will talk a bit more about the format, etc., of the test in just a short while. So, in a nutshell, this is what the CENTA International TPO looks like. So here's the format. So you have the TPO prelims, which is 50 MCQs, 2 videos, and overall for 100 marks. So the prelims itself is divided into 2 subsections, or 2 big sections rather, the multiple choice questions, which has 50 questions for 75 marks, and the verbal communication test, we also call it the video evaluation test, which is 2 questions for 25 marks. Now, the multiple choice questions itself is further divided into 4 sections. So, when you take the test, you will have 4 sections: subject expertise, which is expertise of your own subject; subject pedagogical content knowledge, which is the pedagogy of your subject; common pedagogy, common pedagogical knowledge a teacher should be having; and professional competencies, which are very, very specific to a teacher. So these are the 4 subsections or aspects of the multiple choice questions. Now moving on to the verbal communication test, there are 2 videos that you will have to submit. Video 1, which is the subject specific verbal evaluation. So you will be tested on your own subject, and you will be tested for how you deliver your communication skills, pedagogical skills as well. And video 2 is purely to test your communication skills. So that is the subject agnostic verbal evaluation. You can see how the marks have been split across all of these sections. So I'll just pause maybe for 10 seconds on this slide so that all of you are able to internalize the entire format of the TPO prelim. If you have any questions about any of these parts, please do write in the comments. Somebody from the team, our representative, will be addressing all your queries. We'll definitely try to address all your queries. So please do put it on the comment section. Great, let's move on now. We spoke about the format of the prelims. Now, I just wanted to give a little bit of a flavor of what the prelims is going to look like. So, your MCQ test, this is what the platform looks like. You have 50 questions for 90 minutes or 1.5 hours. This is the split of the sections. And the screen that you see below, which is the AOL Aon screen that you see below, that is exactly how your MCQ test framework, test environment is going to look. So you can see the sections are put up on the left side, whichever section that you're taking up. On top right corner, you can see the hour, the time, right? The time you've spent and the remaining time that you have left. And of course, you can see the question and the 4 options. There's going to be only one correct answer. You click it and you can move on. You can always come back to this question as well. So that's the multiple choice question. Coming to the video or verbal communication test, it will be conducted on a platform called Zoom, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with. So you will be invited to a Zoom meeting. You will be put in breakout rooms and you will be meeting a center expert there who will be assessing you and interviewing you with the two questions, and you will have to answer it. And please note that the communication test happens after the MCQ test. They do not happen on the same day. So you take your MCQ test on a stipulated date, and you please do check your emails. You will get an invite to the verbal communication test. So that's how the TPO prelims process works. They do not happen at the same time. They happen at separate timelines. But you do start with the multiple choice questions test first, and only then is that followed by the verbal communication test. If you don't do the multiple choice test at all, you may not get the invite for the verbal communication test either. Okay, so now let's quickly move on to the partners of this year's CENTA TPO. Our partners so far are Reliance Foundation, which is the presenter of this initiative in association with Education World. As you can see, we also have a lot of additional partners, some of which are on the screen for you to see. So we have the University of Buckingham, University of California, Santa Cruz, Oxford University Press, Teach for India Online, Tag Hive, Inspirit, Think Startup, Bharti Foundation, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TISS, Wisdom Circle, Key Education Foundation, to name a few. All the partners bring many interesting prizes and rewards, some of which are listed in the screen. So that is the biggest value that all our partners bring. They bring lots of interesting, innovative, and very useful, beneficial prizes and rewards. The Reliance Foundation Teacher Awards are given every year to the winners of the CENTA TPO, which are cash awards worth 20 lakhs. I do want to point out, however, that this is very specific to the teachers participating from India. Only they will be eligible for this. All the other awards, most of the others are open to everybody participating, and there are lots of awards that are specific to different subject tracks, but they are open to all. We also have premium training opportunities from Oxford University Press, University of Buckingham, University of California, Santa Cruz, to name a few. OUP has training programs, which is Oxford University Press, has training programs affiliated with Oxford University. University of Buckingham has projects where winners will get the opportunity to be mentored on a short research project by professors along with a certificate of teaching excellence. UCSC is offering curated trainings and enrollment into their summer program in California. So you get to actually go to California and take the program from there. Inspirit is providing access to a one-of-a-kind software suite, which is a 3D and VR toolkit for science toppers. So as you can see, a bunch of different professional development and growth opportunities have been included in the prizes this year. Coming to Education World, they will be providing media recognition for winning teachers and for the schools with the maximum number of winners. We also have exclusive opportunities by Tata Institute of Social Science for toppers from B.Ed colleges. Also, winners will receive digital badges, certificates, and a fully confidential scorecard. So, unless you have registered on behalf of your institution or they have paid for your registration along with other teachers from your school, your scorecard is going to be fully confidential and personal, only accessible to you. It's up to you to decide if you want to share it with anyone or if you want to keep it just to yourself. Of course, if you're a winner, it is going to be broadcasted. You are going to be getting media recognition. But otherwise, your scorecard is just for you unless your school has registered for it. It is a school-wide program, right? So, in a nutshell, this is what CENTA International TPO is all about: to reward, recognize, and celebrate the teaching profession. We are very thankful that a large number of partners, be it corporate, government, legends like Brian Lara or Harvard professor Fernando Reimers, or many other teachers, right, have been supporting this initiative over the years. Also, like I said, for teachers like you who have been participating year after year and testing yourself, assessing yourself, reflecting on your own practices, very grateful and thankful for all of you who have been with us in this journey for several years now. Very grateful for the support and grateful that we are able to bring this to the teaching profession. On that note, I now hand it over to my colleague Thomas, who will be taking us through the sample questions in this track. Over to you, Thomas.
Hi, thank you everyone. Good evening today. And my name is Thomas. I'm working the assessment center. So let's dive into a few of the political science questions. So could everyone join the Mentimeter website that is given? The passcode is given 72327450. I'll repeat 72327450. Once you join, you can see the questions. We've given the link to the Mentimeter. Please join the link, and the passcode is also given. You can enter the password to join the Mentimeter. So we'll dive to the first question. So the first question is a subject expertise question, which basically deals with the subject itself, and the topic is globalization, and it's a grade level question. So the first question is, which of the following most represents a fundamental cause of globalization? I'll repeat, which of the following most represents a fundamental cause of globalization? So here, one of the important things is the center questions that we create. We usually create a question which has either most or least, and those words emphasize the best option from the four options that are given. So the first option is rapid development and spread of technology. I'll repeat, the first option is rapid development and spread of technology. The second option is increasing interconnectedness between different countries. Second one is increasing interconnectedness between different countries. And the third option is increasing dominance of USA as an economic power. Third one is increasing dominance of USA as an economic power. And the final option is homogenization of cultures across the world. Fourth option is homogenization of cultures across the world. So let's, yeah. So I can see a lot of teachers have chosen, okay. So there's a split between the first option and the second option. More teachers have chosen the second option now. I would also like a few more teachers to choose the options, after which we can move to the result. I see a majority has chosen the option, second option. Would like a few more teachers to join, and then we can move on. The few who has chosen the fourth option. Okay, still there are a lot of teachers who are choosing the second option, and then the fourth option, and then the first option. We'll wait for a few more seconds and then we'll move on. So I'll repeat the login process to the Mentimeter. We have sent the Mentimeter link, and there's a passcode with it. You can enter the passcode, which takes you to the Mentimeter website. I hope all the teachers could join. There's a link that is sent, and there's a passcode. You can enter the passcode, and it takes you to the Mentimeter link, the website. So I think we can move on to the answer. So the option is the first one. Uh, Yeah. So the correct option here is the first option, which is rapid development and spread of technology. Now, this is the correct answer because the cause of globalization was the spread of technology, which increased communication between countries and also the exchange of culture and trade. Now, option B, which is increasing interconnectedness between different countries, is a right answer, but it is also a secondary cause. It is not the best option out of the four, which is why we usually emphasize the most in the question. The third option, increasing dominance of USA as an economic power. The power of USA as an economic power fluctuated after globalization since a lot of new countries enter the global market. And the fourth option is a result of the globalization, and hence it is an incorrect option. We can move on to the second question. So the second question is, which of the following statements about the Cold War is correct? I'll repeat, which of the following statements about the Cold War is correct? So this is a subject expertise question, and the topic is Cold War, and it is a grade 12 question. So the first option is it was a direct war with weapons between the US and the USSR. The first option is it was a direct war with the weapons between the US and USSR. The second option is it was an ideological war between the US and USSR. The second option was it was an ideological war between the US and USSR. The third option was it was a war over the occupation of Cuba between US and USSR. The third option, it was a war over the occupation of Cuba between US and USSR. Fourth option, it was an effort by each of US and USSR to kill the other country's economy. Fourth option, it was an effort by each of US and USSR to kill the other country's economy. So once again, you can go to the Mentimeter and choose the option that you believe is the right one. So I see a lot of teachers have. Oh, you can choose the link has been sent. You can put in the number, the passcode, and then it takes you to the website. So I see most of the teachers have chosen option B. We'll wait for a few more responses. I see some of the teachers have chosen option D. We'll wait for a few more responses. There are a few more teachers choosing option D. We'll wait for a few more responses and then move on to the answer. I guess we can move on to the answer then. So the correct answer here is option B, which most of you have chosen. So the correct answer is ideological war between the US and the USSR, which is the Cold War. Now, option A, which was a direct war with weapons, is not the correct answer because the Cold War as such was not a war wherein weapons were used or weapons of mass destruction was used. It was more of an ideological war without any human casualties. Option C is a wrong answer because it is the Cuban Missile Crisis, wherein the US, the USSR stationed few missiles in Cuba, which was very close to the US shore. And option D, which is an effort by each of US and USSR to kill each other country's economy, is an incorrect option, since capitalism and communism both had implications on the other country's economy, but it was not a conscious effort by each country to kill the other country's economy, which is why it is an incorrect option. Let's move on to the third question. So the third question is also subject specific, but it is a PCK question. So PCK is a pedagogical content development question, wherein the question deals with something that the teacher is supposed to know compared to a student. So the question is, which of the following topics is least suited to be taught using the constructivist approach? Now, the constructivist approach is something wherein you teach the students using the present knowledge that they have, or some or knowledge which they can relate to. So I'll repeat the question once again. Which of the following topics is least suited to be taught using the constructivist approach? So option A is the local government. Option A is local government. Option B is discrimination in society. Option B is discrimination in society. Option C is no confidence motion. Option C is no confidence motion. And option D is fundamental rights. So once again, you can go to the Mentimeter, enter the passcode, and choose the option that you believe is the right one. We have sent the Mentimeter link in the comment session. You can add the passcode and it takes you to the Mentimeter website, wherein you can choose the option that you believe is the right one. We'll wait for a few more seconds for some of the teachers to choose the options. Okay, I see a lot of teachers have chosen option A, and there's a equal difference. Okay, option B has been chosen after that. Option D. Okay, some of the teachers have chosen option A and some option B. We'll wait for a few more seconds for some of the teachers to give their responses. Most of the teachers have chosen option A and B. And there's 17% who have chosen option C and D. So I would request the teachers to choose the options in the Mentimeter and not in the comment section. In the Mentimeter, we have sent the link and the passcode. You can enter the passcode and it takes you to the Mentimeter website. There are more teachers who have chosen option C. We'll wait for a few more seconds and then we can move on to the answer. There is an equal split between option A, B, and C. Most of the teachers have chosen option B. We'll wait for a few more seconds and then move on to the answers. I think we can move on to the answer now. So the option is, the correct option is C. So here, the constructivist approach, as I explained before, is a approach wherein you teach something to the student, wherein the student can actually relate to or can experience in their own life. Now, here the question is the least suited. So the least suited here should be the no confidence motion, since it is a motion that is held in the parliament, and that is something wherein the students cannot personally experience or relate to. The other three options, which is the local government, discrimination in society, or the fundamental rights, are certain topics which the student might have faced or experienced at certain point of time. But the no confidence motion, being the least suited, is the correct option. Let's move on to the next question. So the fourth question is a subject-specific PCK, which is pedagogical content knowledge. And here the essay stands for student assessment. So these are the questions which are used as a part of the student assessment. And it is a topic from federalism and it is grade level question. So I'll read the question out. You are about to teach students about the division of power between center and states in India. Which of these questions would be most apt for a diagnostic assessment? I'll repeat the question. You are about to teach students about the division of power between center and states in India. Which of these questions would be the most apt for a diagnostic assessment? Option A. What are the features of a federal system of governance? Option A. What are the features of a federal system of governance? Option B. What is a concurrent list? Option B. What is a concurrent list? Option C. What is the system of checks and balances? Option C. What is the system of checks and balances? Option D, how are conflicts resolved between center and state governments? Option D, how are conflicts resolved between central and state governments? Once again, you can go to the Mentimeter and choose the correct option. We'll wait for a few more seconds for the teachers to give in their responses. I've seen some of the teachers have chosen option A. I would like the rest of the teachers to also give in their feedback. Please do answer only on the Mentimeter website and not on the comment section. We have sent the link and there's the passcode. You can enter the passcode in that. I've seen a few of the teachers have chosen option D. Some of the teachers have chosen option D and the rest have chosen option A. We'll wait for a few more seconds and then move on to the answer. I see some of the teachers have chosen option C. I think we can move on to the answer. So the correct answer here is option A. So here we are asking the question which would be most apt for a diagnostic assessment. And we should also keep in mind that you're about to teach the students the division of power between central and states in India. So what are the features of federal system of governance is the most apt answer. Answer. India follows the federal system of governance wherein the powers are divided between central and state government. And this question clearly explains that. Option B, which is a concurrent list, comes after the explanation of division of power. Option C, which is the system of checks and balances, is already present in the governance system, and it is there present irrespective of the federal structure that the government follows. Option D should only be given after covering the topic of division of powers, which is why it is the wrong option. We'll move on to the next question. So the next question is also subject specific PCK, and CD is content development. And the topic is secularism and the grade is 11th grade. So the question is, which of the following exercise is relevant for getting students to apply the concept of secularism? I'll repeat, which of the following exercises is relevant for getting students to apply the concept of secularism? The first option, option A, list down the characteristics of secularism. Option A, list down the characteristics of secularism. Option B, in which of the following events is secularism being displayed? Option B, in which of the following events is secularism being displayed? Option C, list down the countries which follow secularism. Option C, list down the countries which follow secularism. Option D, describe secularism in your own words. Option D, describe secularism in your own words. Once again, you can go to the Mentimeter, enter the passcode, and choose the option you believe is the right one. A lot of teachers have chosen option A. We'll wait for a few more responses from the teacher. Some of the teachers have chosen option D. I would like the rest of the teachers to also give in their responses. I see some of the teachers have chosen option B. We'll wait for a few more responses and then move on to the answer. Most of them have chosen option D, and then option A comes. I think we can move on to the answers. So the correct answer here is option B. So here we're asking, how would the students get the concept of secularism, apply the concept of secularism? In here, in all the four options, the option B, which is in which of the following events is secularism being displayed? Here the students can relate to that particular question, can also use the incidents from their own life, personal lives, which is also why the topic secularism is being applied here. Whereas in option A, which is list down the characteristics of secularism, would be more of a recall question, which is like a knowledge question. Option C would also be either a knowledge question or an understanding question. And option D would be checking the understanding of the student on what they know about secularism, which is why option B is correct. So next is the TPO format for the VC, that is subject specific verbal evaluation, which is the first video, and the second video is subject agnostic verbal evaluation. So the video one, which is subject specific verbal evaluation, is one question with three options, and you choose any one of the options, and it is a 15-mark question. So there's a sample question which I can read out. Choose any one of the following topics for introduction in your classroom. Option 1 is democracy versus monarchy. Option 2 is unitary versus federal government. And option 3 is right to information. So the same a question like this would be given to you, and you can choose any one of the options, and you'll have to explain the option like you're teaching a classroom. Then the video 2 is a subject agnostic verbal evaluation, which is also one question, and it is for a 10 mark. So the sample question here is choose any one of the following topics and share your thoughts. First option is, does use of technology affect student learning? Second one is, what steps can you take if parents of a student are not attending scheduled parent teacher meetings? Option 3 is, when should skill based education begin for students? Here once again you should choose any one of the options, and you have to prepare the option and present it like you're presenting a classroom.
Thank you so much, Thomas. I hope I'm audible and I'm back. Okay. Thank you so much, Thomas, for taking everybody through questions that they can expect in the senior secondary political science track. I think this is a new track. So many teachers were who have participated or who are planning to participate in this track were looking forward to this webinar and actually getting a flavor of what the assessment is going to be like. So thank you so much for taking them through each question, going through the insights and also discussing why is the correct answer correct, why is the incorrect answer incorrect. I hope everybody are leaving, everybody who's attended this webinar, are leaving with a few good insights about the senior secondary political science track. So before we close today's webinar, one of the most important questions that we get a lot of times, right? One of the biggest query we get is how do I prepare for the TPO? So we've got you covered there. So this year we have the CENTA TPO Resources page, which is your one-stop shop for everything that you need to prepare for the CENTA International TPO. So as you can see, you can find sample questions across subjects. So in this webinar, we have only covered 5 questions, but in the TPO resource page, you'll be able to find many more questions for the senior secondary political science track and other tracks, of course. Live webinars. So webinars like this, we do have the live webinars as well as the recorded versions available in this page. There are other recorded webinars and lots of other free learning resources as well. Guides to prepare for the CENTA International TPO, and a curious corner where we upload new resources every day. So we do have this dedicated page which is to help everybody prepare for the CENTA International TPO. Would request everybody to go to the page and leverage it in your preparation for the TPO prelims. And of course, we are trying to add more and more every day. So please do stay tuned. And we hope you're able to find this page and you find it. We hope you find this page useful and it actually helps you prepare for this year's TPO prelims. So now coming to the last part of today's webinar, now that we have seen the TPO's journey, we have looked at sample questions for the senior secondary political science track, we have also looked at how to prepare for the TPO. The last step being how to register for the CENTA International TPO. Like I said, there's the last slot that's available. The last date to register for the last slot is March 15th. And the last slot details will be put in the comments by my colleague. But as far as I remember, March 20th or 21st is the last slot, and the last date to register is March 15th. So very simple. If you still haven't registered for the CENTA International TPO, please go ahead, and this is your last chance to be able to register for this year's TPO. Please go to the link given on the screen. Click on register now. So you'll see a blue button called register now there. Fill the TPO registration form. You'll get a very simple registration form wherein you have to enter your name, your phone number. You'll get an OTP. Once you enter the OTP, you'll be able to fill the full form and you should be able to submit and pay. So the cost is 990 plus GST. So that's the cost of the TPO. And if you register for the prelims, there is no additional payment if you qualify for the finals. You don't have to do any extra payment there. The only additional payment is if you have registered for the TPO prelims and you have taken the MCQ test and you want to reschedule your verbal communication test. That's an only additional reschedule fee. Otherwise, there's no fee involved. Also, as you can see on the screen, we do have a coupon code for all of you to actually get a 15% discount on your registration fee of 990 plus GST. So when you're registering for the CENTA International TPO, you'll be able to see a column or rather a row, a field to add a coupon code. So please do go ahead and add the TPO MAR6, this coupon code, to avail a 15% discount for your TPO registration. So on that note, we've come to the end of today's webinar. We've finished 15 minutes early. So I would like to stay back and see if anybody has any specific questions that have to be addressed. You can put it in the comments and we'll definitely try to address your questions. Of course, my colleague is also answering many of your questions that you've been asking. So also the coupon code, you should be able to see it sliding on your screen. So I'm going to stop sharing and come back and see if anybody has specific questions that we can address. So Nidhi ma'am, you've asked, is it for Hindi also? Of course, we have a lot of Hindi tracks this year. If you go to the TPO page, which I can maybe quickly share and show all of you. So here's where you find the CENTA TPO 2022. And you know the finals is approaching on 30th of April. If you've already written the prelims and qualified, the last slot, 8 days to register for the last slot. 15th of March, this registration closes for the last slot. And you can see there are the TPO resource page, how to prepare. And as you can see, there's lots of rewards, awards, etc. And if you come to the Hindi tracks, you can see that there's middle school Hindi, there's primary school language, math and EVS in Hindi, there's primary school Hindi itself, which is pure language track. There's middle school math in Hindi medium, there's just middle school Hindi as a track, middle school science in Hindi medium, then there's senior secondary school Hindi. So as you can see, we have several tracks in Hindi this year. So I hope that answers your question. So Sapna Sinha ma'am, you have asked, is it possible to attend previous questions? In this webinar, no, but in the actual TPO prelims test, yes. Once you answer a question and you move on to the next question, you can always come back and change your answer or relook at the answer you have given for the MCQ test. So you can attend previous questions in the MCQ test. Let's see if there are any more questions. I'm just looking at the comments section to see if there are any relevant questions that we can address. Okay. So, just looking if there are more questions. Okay. I see that we don't have a lot of questions and most of it seem to have been answered. So then I think we're good to close today's webinar early. So if anybody has any questions, please put it on the comment section. Otherwise, in the next 3 minutes, we will be closing the webinar. Okay, so I think some of you still want to get clarity on the format of the TPO. So let me just quickly share my screen once again and take all of you through the format. So as you can see, this is the format of this year's TPO. So we have the TPO prelims, which has 50 MCQs, and there are 2 video submissions for 25 marks, the 50 MCQs for 75 marks, and in total, this entire test assessment of the TPO prelims rather is for 100 marks. So the prelims is divided into 2 sections, a multiple choice question and the verbal communications test. So as you can see on the screen, and the multiple choice itself, and if you can see the multiple choice questions itself, these are the sections. Now coming to this is the format for the prelims. Coming to the format for the finals, whoever qualifies in the prelims, right, please be rest assured that you will get details about the finals well in advance, including the format, the date, and all other details that will be relevant. Those who qualify for the finals, you will definitely be receiving all the details much before the finals happens. So please be rest assured, don't worry about that. At this moment, we are only focusing on the prelims because this is going to be your entry point and the step to even get to the finals. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. Hope you all had a very informative and good session. Thank you so much, Thomas, for all your inputs and also great insights about each and every question that you took all the teachers through. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care. We'll see you next week again, next Monday. Till then, take care and stay safe and good evening. Have a great evening, everyone.